Welcome to Two Millennials and Mom, where we bring you engaging conversations and respectful disagreement across the social spectrum.
Injected with the quirks of everyday life.
Curl up as we navigate the complexities of this modern world with all the humor and warmth we can muster.
And the occasional gentle ribbing. We're glad you're here. Happy listening.
Imagine instead of buying something, you could just print it. Shoes, furniture, a new toothbrush, maybe even dinner. That's the promise of 3D printing, a technology that sounds futuristic, but is already reshaping medicine, housing, and even space exploration.
And from my point of view, this isn't just a gimmick. It could change how we live. Imagine affordable homes printed in a week. Our doctors printing custom parts for patients who would otherwise never get them. Of course, it also raises some big questions, like what happens when people start printing things they shouldn't, like guns or counterfeit goods or worse.
Today, we're diving into something that sounds sci-fi, but is actually very real. 3D printing. From chocolate desserts to replacement body parts, people are literally printing the future. We're talking about what it is, how it works, the wild things that people are doing with it, and what it could mean for all of us moving forward. Welcome to Two Millennials and Mom. I'm Callie.
I'm Cole.
And Mom. And I started thinking about this. I read an article just recently about Ukrainian soldiers that had been injured in the war and how they were using 3D printing and titanium to print jawbones and, eye sockets, and was absolutely fascinated by this, replacing their damaged faces with 3D printers. And then your dad got 3D printing dentures that I didn't even know was a thing. And so I thought it was something that we might want to talk about.
Yeah, I'm really curious. You sent an article to me here several months ago about people using 3D printers to print houses.
Yeah.
And how kind of quick and economical and, truly like the pace. Like you mentioned in the intro, building a house in a week. How is that even possible?
It's all different sizes. It's from mini houses that you can build very economically for maybe your homeless population or retirement villages to large homes that are being built this way. I think I actually have one in my neighborhood that they built not very long ago that's a beautiful home, and you would never know except you just watched it go up the way that it did. But it's that difference in the size of the printer. We think printers, and then there are big printers. that do concrete and how they do it and everything. It's kind of wild.
So when we first started talking about this, when we were trying to kind of explain it to you, Mom, I used the analogy of it's a glue gun. It's like a glue gun on a CNC arm, right? And so you've done a little bit more research and reading. So do you want to give us a better analogy, a better definition than a glue gun on computers?
Well, it really is. It's using layers of different materials and just layering them one after the other. And what really is fascinating to me is that can be food even. So that it's not fast, but you can take food like a dough and make things, or resins, plastics, metals, even living cells that are going. And so it's just a digital design that builds layer by layer until it becomes a real object.
Yeah, I think the medical implications here are really interesting because it makes me think of that scene in Star Wars after Luke has gotten his hand cut off and he comes back and he's in the med bay of the ship and he's got a new hand. Now that hand is prosthetic, but it looks like a real hand.
Mm-hmm.
But having the ability to come in and rebuild someone's bones out of, say, titanium, because that's a pretty common, ingredient material used in 3D printing. And then adding on top of that, the ability with what I expect is probably a different 3D printer to come in and print living cells. Does that give you the ability to reprint someone's whole arm? If you're on a transplant list, what if we can reprint or print someone new kidneys or a new heart?
Wouldn't that be cool?
I mean, they're doing a lot of research right now with, what do they call them? They're genetically altered pig organs, and they're using those. But what if you could 3D print them with actual things that wouldn't, I mean, there's a possibility, I would think, that you could pull from a person's own body, whether that be bone marrow or whatever, blood cells, whatever it is, and develop an organ that wouldn't face rejection. Because that's the biggest thing with organ donations is rejection. So what if this is in our future, that we can do all the organs that we really need? I mean, it's just it's a fascinating and just all over the place. And they did Dad's dentures the other day. I mean, it didn't take them a really long time. And they took images of his mouth, and then they went in and printed his dentures to put them in. And
while you were sitting there.
While we were sitting there, it was really fascinating.
Especially in the dental space, I feel like it's really easy to think of kind of the more traditional time frame and process. Okay, we're going to take some molds and then we're going to send it out somewhere, and then a couple of days or a couple of weeks later you can come back. And they did all of this in an afternoon, ready to go.
Yeah, it was really cool
to me.
I did not know about the food until we started talking about it, but it's the same thing where they're layering, and the ink is edible material. And so they're creating these beautiful designs in chocolate that can be, added to your cake or your cupcake. And it's just kind of fascinating. You just can squeeze it using precise shapes and do whatever you want to with it.
Yeah, that part I get. It definitely gives you the advantage, especially if you're making like large batches of these really intricate desserts. That one's really cool. I am a little bit skeptical about like the plant-based proteins getting printed.
Wait, what? What? I'm still sitting here thinking about putting a stick of chocolate in my actual glue gun. So back up just real quick. What?
What to what?
What are you talking about? They're 3D printing meat or meat alternatives?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're doing both. So they're 3D printing lab grown proteins to try and like replace a steak. They're also 3D printing Beyond Burgers, where they're using plant-based protein. And I don't know on those how you get them to bind.
Egg.
But how do you get plant-based hamburger and egg through the same, like, is it just a mixture of the two? And and if that's the case, because if you cook a sausage patty and then you add more to that cooked sausage patty and you try and cook it, it's not going to fuse it together.
Okay. Well, I think at some point we have to step back and zoom out a little bit and recognize that our food manufacturers are not always the most above board. And so they're going to put anything and everything in there that they need to make it make sense. Yeah. Parmesan cheese is wood shavings, something ridiculous like that.
I don't remember that part.
I don't remember that one. You didn't have that with us.
You guys don't remember? This was like a huge thing. Like Kraft, who makes like the green can of Parmesan cheese that is totally shelf stable. It's wood, like sawdust.
That makes sense. Like, here's the thing. The more preservatives you put into food, like the worse they are for you.
Which is my point. So I'm not exactly trusting food manufacturers to put good things, eggs in here to use as a binding agent. We're going to put in Elmer's to make it make sense, to make it work. And we're going to call it a Beyond Burger.
But
goodness.
Right, which is exactly why I'm a little skeptical about 3D printed meat.
But look at this. You could take 3D printed meat and make it look like whatever you want it to look like. It could be your best looking pork chop in the world, That's not a pork chop.
Which
I love how
is a
excited you
novel
are.
idea, but like I'm not all that interested in eating that personally.
Well, neither
Like
one of
the
you are very
whole
good. None of us are very good about what do you call them? Fake meat.
Meat alternatives. Okay, that's not totally true. You and I had a conversation about chickpeas as protein yesterday,
That's
first and
true.
foremost. And I
That's
have a tofu and black bean lasagna that is knockout. I mean, I'm not opposed to meat alternatives. And I have had several Beyond Burgers and have very much enjoyed them. I'm still a carnivore, but
Yeah, no, like I'm not necessarily opposed to meat alternatives, but I am very skeptical of them.
But even think about this. If you have trouble getting your kid to eat vegetables, what if you can make the vegetables into that device and into that printing component and it looks like mac and cheese, but it's full of vegetables?
don't we already
Or
have that?
or you could just say this is what you're getting.
Well, yeah.
Suck it up and eat it.
Worked for us.
Yeah, kind of.
You know, it's kind of like that joke that Bobby tells where the guy is standing in line at the grocery store and he's got a grocery cart full of turnip greens, and the guy behind him says, "What are all these turnip greens for?" And the guy turns around and goes, "It's what I feed my dog." And the second guy goes, "I didn't know dogs would eat turnip greens." The guy goes, "Mine didn't either for a month."
I think that's an old Jerry Clower joke.
I think you're right. But I mean, still printing carrots to look like a pork chop or mac and cheese is not the solution to our parenting problem.
Yeah, I can't beef leave it.
That one I think legitimately may have taken time off of my lifespan.
You're welcome.
I just think if you can do some kind of edible ink, it could be really fascinating what people could come up with.
Sure. I mean, and I mean, when the concept is take raw materials and turn them into essentially whatever you want, the possibilities are absolutely limitless. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be skeptical of some of those creations.
In the process, yeah.
I mean, but if you're talking about world hunger and you can do packages of proteins that you can easily ship and don't require heating or cooking
well, I mean, they do. It may be the 3D printer that is doing that, but I mean, at this point, we're talking about an economic issue with world hunger, about getting those products there. Here's the thing. Who's going to pay for it?
Yeah.
It's the same issue. Like, it's a great idea, but I think there are some extra hurdles there.
But I mean, those started to say you got to put the idea out there before you can even start jumping the hurdles.
I mean, yeah, I think it goes back to one of the other conversations that we've had in the past. I think in general, we need to be giving people a hand up, not a handout. And this sounds a lot like a handout. Hey, we're going to make all of this food. We're going to pay for all of this food and we're going to give it to these people who are hungry. That doesn't teach them how to have skills to go out and provide for themselves, or how to go out and get a job, or how to be productive members of society. It just kind of further latches them on to the teat that is
whoever is providing it. Yeah.
Well, that's just one way to look at it. But what if we're doing something with that food that is creating, jobs in an area that doesn't have jobs?
And I'm all for that.
That sounds great, but how do you apply that? Because you're talking about a pretty much automated system that you just punch in, make me some McDoubles, and it prints out McDoubles. Now,
I mean, that's a real simplistic view, but there's opportunity for a lot more there.
This reminds me so much of our conversation way back when we were talking about AI, and Mom is like, hey, let's talk about AI chatbots. And Cole and I were like, whoa. And you were like, that's not where I expected this to go at all. I feel like we're there again. Mom's all
no.
excited about 3D printed food, and we're like, maybe not.
I mean, it's just a fascinating idea. And don't get me wrong, they say it's very time consuming right now, even to print that. What did you call it, Kelly? The burger? Beyond
Meat
Burger.
Yeah.
You know, that it's not like fast food.
Okay, so but
Sure.
you can build a house in a week, but how long does it take to build a burger?
30 minutes.
My reading said it could take up to 30 minutes to do a burger.
Which, I mean, if you have some way to get shelf-stable input materials somewhere and you have a 3D printer there, like, okay, maybe that's not that bad. My concern is with what that shelf-stable input ingredient is, which...
I get that.
I mean...
Can you imagine walking into a McDonald's and them having several different 3D printers sitting there? Okay, building a Big Mac. Okay, building chicken nuggets. Okay, building all of these things. Like, okay, just 1 second. We're going to go grab, here's your chicken nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, and there's this concept within 3D printing of printing farms where you might have a guy who he makes like woodworking tools with 3D printers and sells them online. Well, he might have a garage that's got 12 or 20 or 100 3D printers that are all running the same script, the same program at the same time. And they're all in a relatively confined space. So if you're talking about McDonald's building these 3D printer farms where they're printing out patties and fries and whatever else it is, like I can see where that becomes feasible at some point, but probably not printing them in the actual restaurants themselves. I mean, I suppose they could, but that means that every McDonald's has to get a complete remodel or get torn down and rebuilt to facilitate that kind of mechanism.
But if you go back right now, NASA's doing some experiments with this. They're doing 3D printed meals for astronauts. They're doing pizza and pasta and nutrient-based bars and things that'll last in space for years. So there's some possibility there. Y'all are just being very limited thinking on things today.
Real downers.
We're agreeing with the possibility. We just have some concerns about what some of those possibilities are.
And the
outcomes.
I
think it's really, really interesting when we start talking about like the personalized nutrition aspect of this, because you can now print meals. You have a scan that comes in, or you have someone take some blood and they say, okay, you're lacking in these vitamins or these specific proteins. So now
you're going to inject your daily intake with extra of those things so that you get back up to normal.
Yeah. And that's really, really interesting, especially if you can make it taste good. But again, it's one of those, you get out of something what you put into it. And I am concerned right now about what we're putting into it. Going right back to the Kraft Parmesan that's sawdust.
Well, and I'm really weird. Like when I go into a house, if I'm looking at a house to buy, I don't look at all of the windows and go, oh, what a beautiful view. I go, oh, how much Windex is that going to take? How much electricity is it going to take to run and power all of these printers, printing farms? Like you guys, here in Texas, we don't have enough electricity to go around and heat our homes as it is. I mean, 287 people died in 2021 because we didn't have enough power to keep our grid up. How are we going to sustain and support all of these electric vehicles? Now all of these 3D printers. Like, and I get you don't need it all the time. All of the AI, us saying thank you so that there's not a robot revolt at some point, and all the extra power is going to, like, where's all that electricity going to come from?
That's a really fantastic point, Callie, because, I mean, right now the economics of energy is really the limiting factor for our technology at this point. Like,
and so much
particularly for the expansion of it. Yeah. So that's a completely different problem that is really pertinent to the conversation, because you're right, it does take quite a lot of energy. Now, I did a little bit of research a couple of weeks ago on 3D printing, and it's relatively energy efficient. It doesn't really take very much power. I mean, because for the most part, it's like small hydraulic. The moving parts, the actuators are hydraulic. So they're relatively energy efficient. It's going to take you way more power to, like, if you had a room full of 3D printers compared to a room full of like GPUs that are mining cryptocurrency, the energy usage for crypto mining is going to outstrip that of the 3D printing farm exponentially.
Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well, think about, though, your methane gases from cattle. I mean, there's some things here. You guys just have to think about this.
Right.
No, you're right. And that's the point of this conversation. Like, let's talk it out. What makes sense? I think that is my personal kind of excitement factor in all of this and having these conversations. Oh, I hadn't thought about that. I mean, isn't that kind of the point? You're not wrong. I mean, Cole and I are just Debbie Downers off the bat.
I know.
I'm really not trying to dump on your idea, because I don't think that energy efficiency is the biggest drawback of 3D printing. I think 3D printing is really interesting and really incredible. And I think it's also a really fantastic way to kind of start to shift the means of production into the hands of individuals instead of the hands of corporations, which allows individuals to be more self-reliant in the long run. So I think that that's a really interesting benefit of 3D printing if it starts to become really, really widely accepted. The only thing that I have kind of preservations about is the material that we're using to 3D print food, because I think nutrition is really important. I've worked really hard over the last couple of years to massively reduce the amount of processed foods that I am consuming, because I think that they're really bad for you.
Yeah. And I don't disagree with you on that.
This is a whole nother level of processed foods.
It has the capability, certainly, of being that way. But, I'm just sitting here wondering, can those plant proteins be worse for you than all of the, stuff that you get in your sugary cereal?
I mean, I don't eat sugary cereal either, but
some people
potentially, yes. I mean, again, this is not something that I have done a tremendous amount of research on, but there has been some research done on some of these meat alternatives, and they're really not very good for you, is my understanding. So maybe there's a different product in the future that won't be that way, but right now, not something that I personally would want to entertain consuming for myself.
Well, and I think, as is the case with just about everything, there's good ones and there's crap ones.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, even the meat printing people will tell you that they're getting better. They're more savory. They taste more. They have the right chew, but they're not up to
it's not
steakhouse
a hamburger
quality yet. So, but I think it's just fascinating that the possibility is there.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can go there with you on that one.
Done by a printer that you could load almost anything into to create something new.
Printing is the future, guys.
I mean, it sounds really weird, but you look at these homes that they're doing and they're super energy efficient. So they're energy efficient. They cost less to build. They take less time to build. And you can create, a variety. It's not like you have cookie cutter houses. There's some variety that you can add to there. And so it's...
Well, I mean, because if your printing space is big enough, you can print virtually anything.
Yeah.
So, Mom, walk me through this like home building process. Do they just take a giant printer, set it up on the lot, and have it print a foundation and then print walls and a roof? Or are they like printing pieces out within a factory and then they're coming out and putting those walls up?
They can do both of those. But the ones that I read the article about really are they're going out and they're building the walls. The printer is being used, and what it's doing, it's like a glue gun, Cal, or a tube of toothpaste that's just doing layer upon layer. And if you're doing that and you're doing that out of cement, but you're building it fast enough that you're creating a home every couple of weeks versus every 60 to 90 days. It just is a really fascinating idea, especially when we're in what's been known as a housing crisis for years.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. I think there are some other issues with the housing crisis that are exacerbating it.
Sure.
But building more homes, adding to the supply, certainly could help alleviate some of those pain points, particularly if the houses are better houses, because that's something that, especially here in the United States, Texas in particular, has struggled with for the last several decades, is the quality of the houses being put up. These kind of toothpick and brick homes are really not all that durable.
Yeah.
And so if you're replacing it with a material that is less labor intensive and cheaper to produce and is stronger, I think that's incredible. I think that can be really useful.
Ooh, what if you could do it out of something that would float? So you could go to Louisiana where you've got so much significant flooding and you could do something that floats.
Really interesting idea. I don't think that's how buoyancy works. Sure, but let me see if I can.
He just rains on my parade.
Well, I'm just trying to be realistic. If you have a submarine with a screen door, it's not going to work very well.
Okay, I'm with you there.
So if you have a house that floats,
I want my floating house float.
Because it's not a boat, Mom.
Yeah, because it has holes in it, and you don't know, like, unless you shape it to be like a boat where it's got a troughed bottom where it's going to displace water. There's a couple things here. One, how do you get your house back to where it's supposed to be after the flood floats it away?
Yeah, that was my thing. I was like, we're going to play bumper house.
You end up in your neighbor's yard. What if they don't have a floating house and now your house destroys their house?
Sits on top.
Right. I mean, there's just some, I get what you're saying.
I just think you have these little
scary
anchors.
Place we're going to.
Yeah, I went to anchors too, Mom.
You have these anchors, so your house can only go so far, but it doesn't get flooded.
And they're anchors like a winch. So you can say, oh, I need some more. I need some more. Oh, let's go ahead and retract it before we sit down in the wrong place.
Yeah.
It's
doable.
Why don't we just, you're talking about a system that sounds pretty intensive that's going to make those houses prohibitively expensive. Why don't we just make the house flood proof so that you can close the doors and windows and water can't get through?
How do you do that?
Okay.
That's not intensive.
It's
3D home builders, call us. We got some ideas.
Yeah.
It's probably less intensive and more efficient than trying to put winched anchors on the house.
Whatever. So I will say, I'm sitting here, I pulled up some photos of like 3D houses being printed. This is really cool.
I'm telling you, it's a fascinating
I don't
arena.
Disagree with you. I'm not arguing with you that it's fascinating. I'm saying that making them float may not be the best way to approach that problem.
Whatever.
I think it's a great idea.
These are really cool. This one is printing a 1,900 square foot home in 48 hours.
Yeah.
Wow. They're really cool.
Now, some of the ones that I have seen, like, it's really just the exterior, right? Like, it's the walls and the roof. And then you would
can
go
do
in
the interior walls too.
Yeah, this one has interior walls. So it's like everything that you would see on your blueprint, right? Your floor plan.
Okay.
I don't know. I have not done any reading, but so Mom, are they coming in and somebody else is laying the foundation first?
I don't know the answer to that. I assume so.
I wonder if you need a special type of foundation. Like, do you need a different type of concrete so that the 3D printing can fuse to it?
I don't know.
Interesting. I don't know.
Callie, what does yours say?
Mine says that the pictures are pretty.
Where's GPT when you need them?
So I have a different kind of tangent idea while we're looking into that.
Good. Let me see if I can step all over it.
So we were talking a couple weeks ago when Dad got his 3D printed chompers.
Yeah.
That I just kind of had the funny thought of, how did that dental tech feel when they were going through their college saying, why do I have to take a course to learn CAD? I'm going to be a dental technician. This doesn't make any sense. And then they end up using it because they are designing someone's prosthetic teeth.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, should we now start to see with this kind of limitless potential of 3D printing? And I also want to get into combining 3D printing with some other technologies that are very much on the rise right now, but should we see like an increase in architects, an increase in engineers and CAD professionals that can design these types of things? And if that's the case, why aren't we pushing for that already? Like, why are we not?
Okay, that just made me laugh because now that I'm thinking about culinary school and having a whole course on 3D meats.
I mean, whatever stock you need to invest in for concrete and CAD, this is your not insider trading advice.
Yeah.
From somebody who knows absolutely nothing. Go invest in those because it's only going to get more and more used.
Cole, this says that the foundation is laid traditionally, the concrete slab.
Thank you.
Roofs, windows, doors, plumbing, finishing are done by traditional methods. So it's just the walls that you're building.
Yeah. So
these are so cool.
If that's the case, when we start, AI, everybody knows that's the big hot trigger word, particularly in investing right now. So you've got these AIs that are being developed and they're getting smarter and smarter and smarter every day. Thank you, Google AI and Siri. Please don't kill us, Skynet. But you're also seeing these massive leaps forward in things like drone technology. And a lot of that is stemming from better materials being used, more powerful, more energy efficient motors being developed. You're also seeing this integration with drone technology and AI. Well, I mean, if that's the case right now, I'm sure, I don't know exactly what the process is. You've talked about kind of two different styles where they're printing them in factory and then taking them out to a build site and constructing them, putting them together, assembling them at the home site. Now you're also talking about this capability to essentially, what sounds like to me, take a massive 3D printer out to this site to build these walls on top of an already laid foundation. Well, what about places that are harder to get to? Well, can we design an automated drone that is big enough to carry like itself the materials and the injector for a 3D printer so that now we can start to make structures in places that we wouldn't have been able to before?
Now who's thinking out of the box?
I mean,
I think it's a possibility. And I think that's so fascinating that you have the capability of changing the entire construction industry. I mean, they say these houses can be 30 to 50% cheaper to build, that the materials are easier to come by than a standard built house.
Well, and they're waterproof and they're, what else did it say? Waterproof, insect proof. I mean, think about it, how it would change like bug pest control companies that termites isn't an issue anymore. Think about how it would change. I mean, Dad just retired this year from the lumber industry. What does that look like when fences are 3D printed? And we're not needing to chop down forests to go find lumber for all of these things.
Yeah.
What does that mean? And I don't know. I have no concept of how concrete is made and what that actually looks like or means in terms of
what
resources.
Kind of concrete you're talking about, because there's lots of different types of concrete.
But is there good?
But what if you could take, so concrete generally is made out of sand type particles, correct?
It's usually kind of in a dust form, yeah.
What if you could take landfill, create the particles to build this from, put a binding agent, and build a home?
Yeah. A home that
what
was
if you could
resistant to wildfires or resistant to hurricanes. I mean, quickly.
What if we just took all of the plastics that we're not recycling and used them somehow in the 3D printer to build fences or homes?
Fantastic idea, Mom.
Yeah.
I I
There's
can feel the
no
Nobel Prize
possible
coming.
drawbacks.
You can feel your Nobel Prize coming. I love
Yep.
it.
Yep. I
I'm
can feel
voting
it.
for you because that's how it
Okay,
works.
good. Yeah. I mean, I just think it's such a fascinating, and it just feels like it's really open to incredible ideas.
Yeah. The
I
innovation
mean, you
possibilities
guys,
are endless.
if you have a wreck and it destroys your all your bones in your face, and somebody can go in and print those to match what yours used to look like, so that it's not that you have a different face when this is done, but you have your face and it's durable and strong. I mean,
More durable.
more durable. I mean, this
What does
is not.
bar fight look like after that? Yeah, I got my titanium cheekbones. What? Ow, ow, ow. What
if
is this?
they've
The
got a
bionic
titanium
man?
hand? I mean, this is how
Yeah.
we get this is how you get Wolverine.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously,
So
it's
crazy.
the possibility.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so let me talk to you about, because I said the plastics. So there's a place in Southern California called Azure Printed Homes. They printed a 180 square foot tiny home in 24 hours using
100
recycled.
feet.
I mean, that's an IKEA shape, but it's a tiny home.
Okay.
24 hours. You're missing the point.
Sorry.
24 hours recycled plastics blended with the polymer, and they're building 100 homes in a place near Austin using their Vulcan printers and a proprietary material called lavacrete. They're built in 4 to 6 weeks versus 6 to 8 months for traditional construction. They're resilient to wildfires, hurricanes, and they're made out of fiberglass for strength. I mean, y'all, can you imagine in maybe 10 years, entire neighborhoods built out of homes that are durable? What about Oklahoma's Hurricane Alley, and you build
Tornado
homes
Alley.
like this? Tornado. Yeah, it would be a tornado.
I
Tornado
got some
Alley.
oceanfront property in Arizona.
What?
I said, I've got some oceanfront property in Arizona.
Y'all are not funny. I mean,
She
it's just
says that she's
really, it's just such a fascinating idea.
It is. So, Mom,
Absolutely.
I just went and looked up a 180 square foot tiny home just to, in my brain, give it a point of reference. That house that we stayed at, that container house that we stayed outside of Waco, would be about that size. Which
mean,
for one
I
person
think that
would be totally
fine.
doable. Yeah.
Like, I could do that.
I think we have to retrain our brains, kind of, especially as a society. Ryan and I were talking about this with vehicles the other day. The United States, I think it's entitlement, and I think it is ridiculousness that we need these gigantic, huge, gas-guzzling vehicles to drive one person to work, to and from every day.
Yeah.
If we were to retrain our brains, we talked about this. Have we talked about housing on here like we did in Junto with Pam? But talking about how the average home size has ballooned to 3 times what it was in the 1950s for families that are smaller today than they were then. I think that really is kind of entitlement, and it's even some arrogance. If we were to retrain our brains to say, hey, this is what I actually need, not this is my status symbol to show the outward world that you're worthy or worth more than you really are. You just have what you need. And so if we could get behind getting by with what we need rather than these big, huge monstrosities, what would the world look like? How would space utilization differ from today? I mean, we were watching a show that was set in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and it is 18 million people. And you just sit there going, oh my God, that's a lot of people in the same size as what we're in. I mean, we were just kind of talking about that. And so if we were to utilize space efficiently, I think that would be a game changer for the world.
I mean, and you start talking about places like New York or Shanghai or
India,
Sao Paulo. Yeah. India, where instead of building these tiny single family homes, you can more efficiently and more quickly build big apartment complexes, especially if you start talking about incorporating this with AI and drone technology. The AI can help you design a building that is structurally sound. You're using materials that are more durable potentially. I mean, we already know that you can 3D print with titanium. Not to say that, hey, we should start using titanium for building struts, because that's a really expensive material, but we're also like on the bleeding edge of material science right now. That's really what they're looking for, is cheaper, lighter, stronger materials. So if you start implementing this, you can start to build. I mean, the cost of living in New York is exorbitant right now. But if you can start to build bigger, taller, stronger buildings for cheaper, you start to eventually bring that cost of living down. You start to bring down rents. You can do the same thing. So that's kind of a vertical integration of it. But just like you're talking about with these tiny homes, you can go wide as well and say, okay, you don't need a 5-acre plot. Now, if you want a 5-acre plot, go find it. That's great.
Yeah.
But not everybody wants or needs that. Some people really like to have tight-knit communities where they're close to each other, and they don't need. And here's the thing. If you do want a bigger lot, because your home is now smaller, you can get a smaller lot because it's not taking up as much room.
I mean, but also then, like you said a second ago, Cole, we're on the precipice of waste technology changing. So if we were then able to utilize what is all being thrown in landfills right now for a purpose, for a productive purpose, like how much would that change the world?
The entire world.
The entire world. There is so much. And Mom, like, we just take a minute, okay? We're coming around to it. We just take a minute. But I mean, the opportunity for massive, beneficial change around the world is certainly there.
We're not trying to dump on 3D printing. The only thing that I've had contention with so far is artificial meat products. It's the only thing I've had contention with.
Okay.
So what other uses have you got for 3D printing that is being utilized out there in the world?
Well, think about this one. What if you 3D printed your new tennis shoe or your new stiletto custom fit to your foot?
Ooh.
So that no places that it's rubbing, no corns or anything like this. And what if you could do it in your own house and put your, I mean, well, there
You're
goes
not allowed
the
to
small,
have one. You have too many shoes as it is.
There are no, I don't have too many
There's
shoes.
no such thing as too many shoes.
So much, no math. But I mean, seriously, what?
That would be cool. I hadn't thought about that. I mean, to where it's like custom molded to your foot, not even molded, custom printed to your foot.
Custom printed to your foot.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, and now I'm being funny and saying, hey, I want a red stiletto out of this that's perfect for my foot. That would be lovely. But what if you're thinking about people who have issues? What if you're thinking about diabetics that are having neuropathy, and you can design and print a boot or a shoe for them that allows them to walk without getting all of the sores and blisters on their feet? It's an incredible idea that we can do this. They say you can do dresses and glasses, and I don't know anything about it. I got stuck on the shoes. Sorry.
Somebody just wore like
surprise.
A Diet Coke box dress to the SAG Awards, I think is what it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
I mean, so
I don't
again,
remember if it was SAG.
I don't remember which one it was. But I mean, if you're repurposing things, like this is the ultimate recycling, the pinnacle of recycling, if it can.
It really could be
figured out.
But I mean, okay, so here's I did not know this, but Ford created a car made out of soybean years ago. And it was pre-war. And so it didn't take off because the war took over manufacturing kind of at that, but he used soybean. So it was kind of a plastic. Now, I mean, you think about this, that was before plastics were really invented. But he created a car. Well, if you can do 3D printing, even think about if you can 3D print bumpers or front panels or and you can do it where they're stronger and cheaper and more easily produced by 3D printing, that's pretty cool.
I learned something the other day, like in terms of actual printers, once a printer is discontinued, the manufacturer for that printer is by law in the United States required to maintain parts for that printer for 7 years. After that 7 years, you're out of luck. So if you had an opportunity to, hey, I need a new fender for my car that is 10 years old, that everything else works great, but I got a dent in it from a shopping cart in the parking lot, you could go and have somebody 3D print you a new fender real quick, and that prolongs the life of your car.
Yeah. I mean,
because here's the thing. Once the design is out there, you don't need a specialist to build it for you. You just plug it into the machine and say, print this.
Yeah. I need right now, insoles for my existing New Balance tennis shoes, and it could print me some insoles.
Oh, see, Callie, that'd be cool.
I need them.
We need to find you a 3D printer that'll do that.
Yeah.
They got to be out there. You take them your shoe. This is what I want. And it would fit exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, my
That's
gosh.
why I haven't bought some of those cut to size ones. Like, no, I want them to work.
Okay. So as excited as I am about this, there are some downsides. So for me, my first question was, because it came up that people are using these to print guns. And Cole, I'm sure, can address that more easily than I can of what the parts are and are all the parts available and what is that legally to print. But here's
the thing. It's not illegal to make your own firearm, and you don't need a 3D printer to do it. Now, a 3D printer probably makes it easier, and it probably makes it a better piece of material than... So, think, for example, Ted Kaczynski built his own pistol. He has effectively built a bolt-action pistol out of old car and BB gun parts. A functioning pistol. But it's not illegal to make your own firearms. So let's take, for example, like an AR-15. They have what is referred to as a lower receiver, which is, generally speaking, a chunk of metal or like composite plastic that houses things like your fire control group. So your safety, your trigger, your bolt. In an AR-15, your bolt's really in the upper receiver, but it's kind of part of the same piece.
Mechanism.
Right. Those are all working together. But you can go online today and buy an 80% complete lower receiver that doesn't have a serial number on it. It's not illegal to purchase it because it's essentially just a block of aluminum that you have to mill out yourself. Now, once you create your own firearm, you probably should serialize it and register it just in case something were to happen so that you can report this thing as being missing or being gone. So, like, hey, I built this. It's gone now. Someone else has it, or I no longer have possession of this. And you have the ability to do this. I don't think that you are required to, but you can. And in my opinion, you probably should for that reason. But again, making your own firearms is not illegal.
Well, some of these, though, are being made out of materials that are not detectable so that they would go through checkpoints more easily. And so that's a problem.
Right. But what's more of a problem? Having a plastic gun or having someone who is going to use a plastic gun to hurt other people? What's the actual issue?
I get what you're saying. It's just, it is a downside in that it's a readily available process that you can use to do whatever you want to. I mean, you and I talked about silencers because I thought, oh, that's weird that you could 3D print a silencer. And I thought those were restricted. And you said they weren't.
Well, under the NFA, you have to get a tax stamp to have a suppressor. But similar to a firearm, you can manufacture your own suppressors. You just have to register them and typically pay that tax stamp.
Gotcha.
And you can't sell them unless you hold a federal firearms license, unless it has an engraved serial number on all of those parts and you're running background checks for all sales.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, they call them ghost guns, and there's a potential there for people to abuse.
I think there's also a lot of potential for people to harm themselves if they're using materials that are not strong enough to withstand those pressures. So even if you're not building it with the intent to cause harm to other people, you can cause harm to yourself if you're not doing it intelligently.
Yeah.
Do I think that we should prevent people from doing that? No. Personally, I think we should take the warning labels off of a lot of things, but I get where you're coming from, where it does present an opportunity for danger.
Well, and I guess there's
also to cars.
A question there of, does that mean that anyone with a printer should be able to make a gun?
Well,
and that's a big question.
Anyone without a printer can make a gun. It's harder, sure. But I mean, should you be able to? I think so.
Does that change the background screening system now? Do you think that we should amend it to accommodate that?
Well, I think that probably adds more red tape that's not going to really be effective. So do you need to get a background check to buy a 3D printer now? I mean, what if your intention is not to use that 3D printer for manufacturing firearms?
Yeah.
What if you want to build houses? Do you need a background check to do that now? I mean,
yeah.
It's an interesting question and an interesting problem. I don't have the solution to it, but
I mean, I think in general, for me, I think that part of the government's role in society is, how do I say this properly? Kind of like, Cole, we've talked about it before. I'm not specifically referring to legislation for safety over freedom. But at the same time, like, I think that being reasonable with how we're legislating things and especially things that we've already quote unquote legislated, I think that we need to make sure that those things are keeping up with the reality of what's going on with the world rather than just, it's good. It's totally fine. What we did is good enough. Like that whole saying about good enough for government work kind of comes to mind and makes me twitch a little here. Because I think that, I mean, what we're seeing with the growth of AI right now and the unwillingness to do anything with any kind of legislation around it, I think is really scary. We're just going to put that off for 10 years. It'll be fine for the next 10 years, I think is a fool's errand. And
Absolutely.
I just think that we need to be cognizant of what is going on with technology so that we can figure out ways to keep it under control.
Yeah. And
control is a bad word, but
you and I may
not letting it get out of
here
control.
Yes.
As to what the government's actual role is, because I don't perceive the government as having a role in preventing people from doing bad things, because that's a fool's errand. You can't stop everyone from doing bad things. For me personally, I see the government as an effective tool for punishing people who do bad things, which in turn acts as a preventative measure. Because if I'm going to go 15 miles over the speed limit, I'm going to get pulled over and I'm going to get fined for that. Or if I go and start inflicting harm on other people, I'm either going to get shot or I'm going to be arrested and potentially killed for doing that myself. But they can't prevent me from having those thoughts. They can't prevent me from going and taking those actions. It's just not economically feasible, or really you can't have a surveillance state like that and freedom at the same time. So
that's one of these problems that they come up is because you can't really enforce anybody who's printing. If you're printing a gun in your garage, the police don't know that. There's no way to enforce all of that.
But like Cole said earlier, printing a gun is one thing. Printing a gun and using it to do nefarious harm is a totally different thing.
Yeah.
And so, Cole, I think that you're right. And I'm not sure I could get behind it 100% of the time. But in general, I think that you're very much onto something. It is their goal to keep you or to penalize you from doing these heinous acts, not to say, hey, you can't do anything.
Right. So you have to extend everyone the freedom and opportunity to have access to things like that, with the expectation that they are not going to use it to harm other people. And then if they do use it to harm other people, you then punish those actions.
Yeah.
You don't prevent everyone from having that freedom. You don't punish everyone because of one person doing a bad thing. You punish the people who do bad things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can follow you there.
It's just really, really fascinating that the
It is
idea behind it and the scope of it, from plant items to titanium. I mean, it's just
The
such a
swath
wide,
of usability.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, the massive breadth of application here is
yeah.
fascinating.
So there was another thing that came up, and that was about printing 3D selfies of your face. So many of us use facial recognition, and so that if that could be done, even off of a picture that somebody picks up off your social media, the repercussions of what could happen with all of that and how that turns out.
But I just want, if there is an option to print my face in chocolate or turkey, I might get on board with that.
You want to eat your own face?
Who doesn't? Whatever.
Sorry about that. But I mean,
like, I don't have photos of myself, like, up around my house, but at the same time, like, it could be kind of fun.
there's some
This is a
fun
cheese
things.
gallery.
Think about you making your own
Cold chocolate
3D
coins.
Cole's chocolate coins or bobbleheads with your face on it because it's 3D printed.
Yeah, but I'm not going to eat the bobblehead. Like, making your own bobblehead would be cool, but I think
you
if I
wouldn't
was going
eat
to
a
have
Cali chicken nugget?
No, Dino Nuggies maybe, but Cali chicken nuggies, I'm not
T-Rexes
sure.
you'll eat, but Cali chicken nuggets, you're out.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
why is that, Boo?
I don't know. It's just kind of weird to like have someone's face as food.
We eat chocolate rabbits for Easter.
Yeah, that's a rabbit. That's not a person.
What about Santa coins?
Do the coins themselves have Santa printed on them? I mean,
yeah.
Maybe I don't really think about it at the time.
You just pop it in your mouth and go.
Kind of weird.
I don't know. I'm going to say, Callie, it seems like some kind of strange act of love that he's not willing to eat your face in nugget style.
Or strange act of judgment because he's willing to eat everything else without thinking about it, and he won't eat a Cali nugget. Whatever.
Maybe a little bit of both.
I don't think I want a hairy Boo nugget either, though.
I wouldn't.
No.
Although, if you did like a Cole nugget with like macaroni beard, okay,
no.
So I'm not the only one.
Nope.
No.
Nope. You're right. I'm with you. Sold. Creepy. Yes.
Well, I guess that means, Boo, none of us should expect a Valentine's of your face later on.
In chocolate? Yeah, no.
Not going to happen, huh?
I mean, just that weird... That's kind of, to me, like a weird, vain Valentine's Day gift anyways. Like, chocolate roses all day. Chocolate hearts, 100%. My face, weird Valentine's present, personally speaking.
I mean, as much as I love you, I don't think I want a chocolate Cole face.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I'm agreeing with you. I mean, but who knows? I mean, y'all could just print my face and put it on your faces, and then there'd be 3 of me.
I mean, I think that's what birth already did.
A little bit.
Okay.
And we're off track.
So here's my question. If you could 3D print anything instantly, what would you print?
Pasta.
A motorcycle.
Now, see, that's interesting because I don't think you could print a whole motorcycle.
But I bet you could print all of the parts.
You could probably print most of it.
Cole's that would be for a project, and I'm looking for pasta.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I'm still stuck on the stiletto that's custom to my foot. I mean, but I mean, you have the other things. Like they say you could 3D print coral reefs because we're having so much trouble with the coral reefs dying. If we could 3D print them.
So how does that work? Are you 3D printing like plastic coral reefs for them to be utilized by other fish?
Why couldn't you use what makes a coral reef and just
coral reefs are alive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if you can print body parts, why can't you do that. And maybe it's just that you're printing the dynamics of a coral reef and not an actual coral reef that's growing.
Yeah, I think
don't
that's
know.
where it would start to run into issues is that, like, I don't think, like, here's the thing. You couldn't 3D print a dolphin because it wouldn't be an animate object. Like at that, like, I don't know that we have the ability to create life with this. Now, the complexity of a coral reef compared to a dolphin may be a little bit different, but so I'm not exactly sure how you would apply it so that it would continue to have the ability to grow.
So I'm sitting here looking at it. Scientists are using 3D scans of real coral reefs, healthy ones, to capture the complex textures and branching shapes so that they can mimic existing coral skeletons, giving fish and marine life places to hide and feed and lay eggs. So that would be beneficial. But then you go into the actual materials that they're using, and they have to be safe for the ocean, right? So currently they're printing coral reefs. They're printing them using calcium carbonate, which is the same material that coral reefs are naturally created from, and ceramics or special reef-safe concrete. And so sometimes those bioactive materials encourage coral larvae to settle and expand so that they're proliferating the growth of, or encouraging the growth of actual coral reefs to grow by using these other materials that are a solid substitute in the meantime.
Mimicking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good idea, especially where those coral reefs are dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I think it would probably be better to devote our resources to just figuring out why the coral reefs are dying and stop killing them.
Also true.
Yeah, but if you don't have that answer,
so
this is an immediate
these as a scaffold. So they're going to put these around existing coral reefs or baby coral reefs so that those babies can then grow. It protects them enough so that those can grow as real coral reefs. So these temporary structures are just there to give them an opportunity to attach and grow, and giving them a habitable home for these existing coral babies to grow.
Yeah, for the meantime, but while we're still trying to figure out a solution to why we're killing them.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you don't let go of one just to have the other.
Yeah. I mean, why, as we've discussed, why always matters. And so still addressing that is pertinent and necessary. But in the meantime, in the interim, while we're figuring out that why, what a cool solution.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and you talked about Luke Skywalker and his prosthetic hand, and if you could 3D print that,
I think that would be fantastic. I mean, now you're now providing an opportunity to give back someone's ability to do the things that a normal person can do after an injury, which I think is fantastic. Or even someone who is born with a deformity, who we now have the ability to kind of fix that.
Yeah. All with the ever-present Star Wars analogies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Star Wars is life. Life is Star Wars.
All right. That's kind of the weird thought, but
this one.
That's not our weird thought for today.
What you got?
Well, what if we could 3D print people?
Please no. Please
what
no.
if we just 3D printed babies?
Here's my question.
No.
Who is in control of that print button?
Whoever's got the printer.
Horrifying.
That sounds incredibly terrifying.
To go right back to Star Wars, this is how you end up with the Clone Wars.
Yes, agreed.
Oh, yeah. You have a point. Okay. Here's
I don't want to 3D print babies. Sorry.
Yeah.
Here's the really weird one. What if we are the 3D printed? What if aliens are just 3D printing us?
Then I have a question for my mom. How do you feel about that? I'm not actually your kid. I'm an alien that you went and suffered through all of your pregnancy and labor.
I mean, what I don't know.
So to
and
be
I think
fair,
we look too much alike to be 3D printed from aliens. But that's
here's the thing, Cal. technically you were 3D printed.
That's what I'm saying. 3D printed in your uterus. But I think you get the credit for that, Mom. I don't think aliens should get the credit for that.
Fair.
You worked and did all of this labor and delivery and growing. Yeah, get it, girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think you get the credit. You get to take it.
Think about it. That's what an egg is.
Yeah.
It's just a biological 3D printer.
I mean...
No, you put the raw materials in there, and then those raw materials turn into life.
He's not wrong.
If I'm thinking about toothpaste creating the edges, though, it's not quite the same thing as cellular.
But it kind of is.
But
it's
it
just
kind of
sperm
is.
instead of toothpaste.
Yeah, no, so the sperm is effectively one half of the blueprint that is telling the other half of the blueprint
We're teaching our mom how babies are made.
Yeah, where to grow and place cells. That's all it really is. But there's no creation of matter in that. That matter is already there. It's coming from your body.
Don't think it's quite the same thing. And it was way more fun the way I did it.
In practice, it's slightly different, but effectively and conceptually,
you had a different printer driver,
the same thing.
We digress.
But I've been watching some conspiracy theories on YouTube this week, and some people kind of think that that's what happened, is that aliens put us here.
We're the alien toys.
Kind of, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Are y'all ready for a good story?
I think we got weird enough on that one. Yeah, let's do some good news.
So this one is kind of cute. What if you got an email that said, "Mom, I know it's you. There isn't really a tooth fairy."
That would be weird for Cole.
Do what?
That would be weird for Cole.
Well, what happened is Dr. Perva Merchant, who's a pediatric dental practice in Seattle, her then boyfriend 17 years ago made her an email, and she doesn't really release exactly what that email is, but periodically she gets an email either from a frantic parent who's forgotten to do something for their kid's lost tooth, or from the kid talking to her about how much they love the tooth fairy, or that they're really sorry that they swallowed their tooth and that it's not going to be there for her to come and get it. And she answers
a little bit.
What is this? The toothfairy@gmail.com? Like, she just started getting these emails?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Wow.
And she answers them. She's answered over 6,000 of them in the last 17 years. And sometimes it's, something really simple about, "Dear Tooth Fairy, for 2 nights you've skipped Callum's house and he will be at school today. Do you think you could come while he's at school? That would make him very happy." And she answers it as the Tooth Fairy and just says, "I'm sorry to have missed Callum's tooth. I've been busy picking up teeth from all the other children's homes. It's been a busy season for me. I'll be sure to stop by tonight." There was a girl who, when she was 8, I think 7 or 8, was on vacation with her family in another country, and her tooth came out and fell down a drain, so she couldn't get it. And her dad sent a message to the Tooth Fairy, and the Tooth Fairy answered it. 17 years later, she's getting her wisdom teeth out, and she's thinking about all of the things that have gone through her in her life with dental things, and she remembers this message to the Tooth Fairy. And so she sends an email 17 years later to tell her what that message meant to her, for her to receive. And Dr. Merchant always ended up by saying, "Happy growing up." And she said it was just so much to get that as an 8-year-old, to say, "We're taking care of your lost tooth. It's okay. I'll take care of this for you." And to be that encouraged, and then to get it turned around on her for one of the kids that she's actually emailed to come back to her and say, "That was really great." And so she just said, "Thank you for reminding me that kindness, no matter how small, leaves a lasting impact on the world. I really needed that reminder today."
I love
The Tooth Fairy. It's kind of cute.
That's a great outcome for, I know it was you, Mom.
It is.
I love it.
It's kind of fun. Yeah.
What a cool tool for parents and kids. And
So I kind of do have a question for you, though. Have y'all ever just sent a random email like that was like, I don't know who this is going to go to, but
I'm going to try this domain and see if somebody's got it.
see if somebody answers my kid on this?
I mean, but I just want to know, like, how does that come out? Like, moms are sitting at the park watching kids be like, Callie has this tooth that she lost, and I don't know what we're going to do. Oh, you should email the Tooth Fairy, therealtoothfairy@gmail.com. Just email it, and she'll come back to you. Like, how does that work? How does this get spread?
I hope that's not her real, that everybody starts emailing her. She doesn't really release what her email is.
I don't know what it is, but
could be overwhelmed by how many emails she would start to get.
Well, with Dad with his dentures,
so how did other people get it then?
That's what I'm saying.
It's random. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Are they just sitting
just
at the park and guess. We just happen to?
Yeah.
So weird. And she's answered over 6,000.
Yeah. I would never think to just
send... What kind of people have the real Santa Claus or the real Easter Bunny at Gmail? Because, they're getting blown up too.
Oh, Callie's looking for them right now. I can tell.
Like somebody's got the real Krampus. Who's emailing the real Krampus and what are they emailing back?
Wish list.
The monster in your closet at gmail.com. Oh, that would be a really interesting one too. So like if nobody has that, somebody create that Gmail. That way parents can start emailing the monster in your closet.
We could do that for
Jimmy
you.
is scared. No, you can do it for you. I'm not replying to all those emails, but dear monster in Timmy's closet, please tell him that you're not going to come out and eat him while he's asleep. I mean,
let
it's
him know
an interesting
you're friendly.
parenting tool. I have some weird thoughts on this one that we may have to cover in another episode.
Anyway, I think Dr. Merchant deserves a round of applause for being gracious enough and loving enough to send random people who she never ever meets, doesn't know, to be the Tooth Fairy for them. I think she gets some credit for this. What a kind thing to do.
Yeah, just really sweet.
Callie, if you'll help me, we'll set the monster in the closet up for Cole.
He's not going to reply to them.
He barely replies to us.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Hey, monster, sent you an email.
Is more unread emails.
Yeah.
God, yeah, that's the truth.
But Mom, I could set it up for you. You would be a great monster in the closet. Hey, I'm friendly. Don't worry about it. I promise not to be mean to you, but be nice to your sister.
It's an idea. Maybe when I retire.
Okay.
That'll be my side hustle.
Pocket.
That's going to be a lot of emails.
Could be.
Yeah, and I'm promoting it everywhere.
Oh,
email the monster under your bed. Email the monster under your bed. See what she says. She's a she? Yeah, she is.
That would be funny. All right. That's my good news for the day. I thought it was a fun story.
Print wisely. Email the Tooth Fairy. Be kind.
Happy growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love y'all.
Love you guys.
Love you too.